I think something else that I want to mention that we've talked about, Chris, separately from here, is payroll creep. And I think it's a big thing that is, people are susceptible to whenever they are growing, whenever they're experiencing really profitable seasons, whenever there's a huge demand for their product or their service. And I think that there's probably a lot of contractors out there that for the past couple of years have really experienced a lot of growth in their company, and they've had to hire and even hire people at higher price points than they typically were used to because of the way the labor market looked. And now things are slowing down a little bit. And I know people are probably feeling that payroll creep a little bit more, but maybe explain what that is and what you're trying to do to avoid it now. You're operating, like you said, at 70% of where you used to be in terms of staff. So yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, so that keeps me awake at night right now is payroll creep. Making payroll used to keep me awake at night. And so I'm not sweating that. I'm not sweating that as much as I worry about not applying the discipline of what we've learned, really through, the chase revenue at all cost days. And the ad infrastructure and really ending up in the death spiral. And just for a reminder for any of the listeners, if there's any of my listeners that hear this, by the way, guys, just so you know, Martin, I'm so influential, I can bring you tens and tens more listeners.
With your podcast, which will be in the show notes.
But really, just as a reminder, for the death spiral is when you're managing your company where you must get new deposits for tomorrow's projects in now to finish paying for jobs you're doing this month or even cleaning up jobs from last month. So you really don't get to, so that begins a process where you're using tomorrow's money to pay for yesterday's jobs. And there's no happy ending if that happens. If you guys haven't heard the CFC, the Cashflow Contractor episode on that, run to that one if that's you. Because
I told Chris before the episode that for every time he mentioned something about a previous CFC episode, I'd give him $100, and his bill is really running up right
Isn't
now.
there supposed to be an animated dollar sign that comes up every time I get one of those?
Will you take a check, a written check?
You're one of those guys. You're what we call
I'm one of those guys.
You're what we call no thank you business. I think we need to make this, as Khalil would say, a necessary ending.
A necessary ending, exactly. No, what we'll do is we'll get next month's ad sponsors to pay for this month's episode with you.
Outstanding. Yeah. Well, but to answer your point about payroll creep, so right now I'm trending what my revenue was in 2018. Actually, we're better than that at the 6-month mark this year. And I'm doing that with 21 full-time employees back when it was 31 full-time employees last time. And I'm not saying I need the other 10. We're working like hell, Martin, to figure out a model that I have better people. So, and I think they're getting paid more. Some of that is market conditions. Some is it because they've got a higher skill set as critical thinkers. So I don't know if my total payroll is a third less. Well, I know it's not a third less, but, what I love is from where we're applying what we learned in the death spiral days, because we challenge each other. My leadership team challenges each other. And a leadership team is a fancy word for saying, these are the people that you lean on in your company to help you make important. Do we really need that? Do we need another project manager, or do we need a production manager? Do we need a field operations supervisor, or do we need an estimator or a CAD guy? Project managers are doing estimating. My project managers in the last 60 days have done 120 estimates. So the question is that, they go, we need an estimator or help estimating. And I go, so guys, 62% of our revenue typically comes in the first 6 months of the year, historically, 38% in the second half. Are we feeling just the high season push now? So if I ran out and hired that full-time estimator, would we need him as much in the second 6 months? I love that internally we're having this discussion and we're challenging every addition to the payroll. Whereas before, if it was painful enough, we just went out and got them. Obviously not happening as quickly because you can't find them as quickly. But this is to your point. I call it payroll creep. We're profitable. I paid out great bonuses in the first quarter. And by the way, I did that because I believe that my employees should share in the upside as it's happening if they're doing the work. So in a way, it's an incentive to take on the new behaviors I'm asking you to. My job's to come before you every quarter and report the State of the Union, and I will tell you this is who we are and this is what we're doing. Here's what you get. Quick sidebar on this, Martin. So I didn't want to wait to the end of the year to pay out because I know that's too abstract for some people. But I also didn't want to pay full quarterly bonuses if we don't hit our goals in the other quarters. So what we ended up doing, and if you're a contractor listening about possibly doing something like this, so quarter by quarter, we say, here's what we've earned. We're going to pay you half of what your quarterly, your bonus is for the quarter, and the other half will carry forward. If we keep hitting the goal, that'll happen every quarter. And in the fourth quarter, you get the full fourth quarter payout and you get the carry forwards from 1, 2, and 3. If we underperform, you're still going to get something, but the company's not in a position where there's a pressure to claw back. You can't claw back once you pay. So I'd love your opinion on whether that's a good idea or a bad idea. But
Oh, no, I think it's a brilliant idea. The connection, the prompt connection between effort and reward is critical.
Yes.
And the other thing, you didn't say it, but I know it's true, is that they see that their effort, not, you use the word abstract, not some abstract effort, their effort resulted in this benefit. You can't claw back. I think that's brilliant. There are certain ways that people give golden handcuffs, like you get your bonus three months later, or I guess it'd be 3 quarters in your case, you know, and so you get to look at it and make sure it's real, but they have an idea. I think it's brilliant.
And by the way, again, practicing what Khalil's preaching to me all the time, still got to have competitive compensation, right? On salary or hourly wage, still got to have, benefits. You've got to make sure that a person can maintain or exceed, improve a quality of life thing. So I'm conscious that we've added a tier 1 healthcare program in January. We have never had, but finally have activated a retirement plan product, which for us was a simple IRA. That was the recommendation we got. And so, but because we've rolled out a profit sharing plan, we said there's a cap on, so if it's normally, up to 3%, we put a cap on $2,000 of matching towards retirement, $2,000 a year. So if you're a $100,000 guy, we could, by law, we could contribute up to $3,000 or 3% of that, but we're capping it at 2 because we're doing the profit sharing. And I put it to the employees and I go, I can beef up your retirement, but it's probably going to change the nature of what we're doing on the profit sharing, which is a very healthy plan. Everybody loved to keep the profit sharing. Right. They were thrilled with the retirement. And oh, by the way, the other benefit, and maybe another episode we can come back and talk about what are we doing on talent acquisition and how do you recruit and keep the ones you have and all that stuff. So we've also added a mortgage assistance program, which, by the way, if you're an owner and you're listening, this costs me nothing. But we have a friend who's a top mortgage broker. It's a great company. And they said, we as a mortgage company, if you have any employees that want to buy a home or refi, we will contribute $5,500 to the closing cost. Doesn't cost the company anything. That's what, this is not just a broker, but they're also the lender, the financer. It's a large group. And they will offer this, by the way, they're finding in the strain on their industry, they're looking not just to real estate brokers to help them get clients, they're looking at small businesses. And I thought, okay, this is an interesting thing. So Khalil, we can share that in the notes later if you want to know.
I'm having a lunch today today in 3 hours with a mortgage bank, and that's going to be on the list.
It's a great, Anyway, I thought it was, and by the way, I might only have 3. I know I have got one guy who said, he's got 2 young boys and he goes, they're sharing a bedroom and we need a bigger place. So I know he's thinking about it. I have another executive who went through a divorce a few years ago and the house was sold in the process of that. He's rented a place and he goes, man, I hate not paying myself. You know, so whether this happens or not, for a large, I think it makes a statement to your employees. And by the way, this company created a website landing page with my brand name on it and theirs. They're offering to do quarterly, monthly, annual updates from an economist to let people know this is what's happening in the housing market. Let's be honest. If you finance your house during these record, 3.5%, you're never going to refi your house again. But if you're buying a house for the first time, rates are what they are, and why not take advantage of any help you can get, which I thought was great.
Yeah.